So we have a few different topics we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to first of all just do a quick review of everything that you've learned over the last 6 weeks, just as a reminder, so that if you want to go back, you remember where that is in each section. We're then going to talk about how healthy habits are formed. So throughout this program, we've added healthy habits, like Anna talking about chewing more. That's definitely a healthy habit. And so how to form that and continue to form healthy habits after the class. Also implementing the HTMA results. So I guess in this class, ironically, both Terry and Sammy, you guys are getting your HTMA results after the class, but this will still be a good insight for you to know what to do with them. But since we're meeting one-on-one later this week, I'll go over it with you then as well, and it will be more real to you because you'll actually have your results in hand. And then we're going to talk about the 80-20 guardrail. And this is a way to have some food freedom and not feel like you have to stick with this way of eating. So what we've been doing with this 21-day eating anti-inflammatory foods, this is definitely not like sustainable long-term. And so I want to walk through what it looks like to stay healthy and eat healthy foods, but still be able to live your life and, go to a friend's birthday or go to a happy hour or something like that. We'll create a contract with ourselves and then talk about next steps. So first of all, what you've learned a whole lot. So back in September, we talked about intentional living. So the first week we talked about how your thoughts create your reality. And oh, I'm missing Desiree as well. Wait a sec. I forgot to text her. I knew I was forgetting somebody. Sorry, guys.
And the other Terry.
She came earlier today. She was
okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, while Meg's texting, let me tell you about my intention because I've just spent a week with my mother-in-law who identifies as a sick person. She just does. And for the last, 6 weeks now, I've set my intention for the day. And my intention was that I'm strong, active, healthy, and capable. And I had 2 reminders that came up every single day to remind me I am strong, active, healthy, and capable.
Mm-hmm.
And after being with her for a week, I thought, if she could just adopt something like that. So this week 1 stuff, it's important.
Yeah.
And I mean, I had other intentions before that, but as of 9/24 or 9/25, probably, I've had that in my reminders every single day. And it helps. And most of the time this week when it came up, I was on a walk. I'm like, yes, I am. I am those things. So it's important, y'all.
Yeah.
You are what you think you are, really.
For sure. Well, and I had an interesting thing with this because if y'all remember at the beginning of the program, I was sick, so I had COVID. And the thing that carried on for me was the COVID brain and like brain fog. And I've never experienced brain fog before, so it was really weird for me. But not yesterday, but the Monday before, Michelle and I were talking, and she said, "Do I still have any symptoms?" And I said, "I still have brain fog. It's crazy how hard it is for me to focus and get stuff done." And after we hung up, I thought, do I have brain fog because I'm telling everybody I have brain fog and it's weird? Or do I actually have brain fog? Like, I know this is part of COVID, but that's the only part that has lingered for me. I was sick for 2 days. Like, it's not like it was a really bad case of COVID. So why is this part lingering? And so I thought, I'm gonna start telling myself I don't have brain fog. And it's night and day, the difference in my ability to focus. And so even like I was mentioning at the beginning that Terry, I've been working on your one-on-one meeting tomorrow. And what last week took me 5.5 hours to do, I was able to do in 3 hours because I could just focus. It's like literally the only thing changed was that I stopped telling myself I have brain fog. And it's amazing what a difference mindset has. And, even though I've been telling clients this for many, many years, I still fall into it too. And it didn't even dawn on me. And Michelle was graceful and didn't point it out to me. I don't know if you picked up on it.
Every time I think about it, I really do point my finger and turn. I mean, I get that visual of what we did that first week.
Uh-huh.
But yes, I could go further after I did that internalization. It's
Yeah.
important. It really is important how you
Yeah.
see yourself and what you anchor to. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
To share with that, I do the same thing. I am working on getting an ADHD diagnosis,
Mhm.
um, and brain fog is a big part of that. And thing focus is really hard. And so I spend my drive into work reminding myself that I'm focused and clear-headed, and that, I can, I'm successful in getting my stuff done every day. And I do that every day because I'm like, if I don't, I'm going to sit here and think, "Ah, I can't think." And I've done it that way for so long. So I've had some success with feeling a little bit more on top of things
Mhm.
with that self-talk.
I love that. Yeah. And, brain fog is a real thing, but how much is it truly impacting you versus you telling yourself it's impacting you? So,
Right.
yeah. Awesome. Hey, Dory, so glad you could join. All right. So next up, the following week, we talked about digestive health. And so you really started to learn and understand how the digestive system works and why we have all these organs, what they do. And I really hope it made you understand as well the importance of the food you pick, since our cells are made up of the food that we eat. And so if we're putting healthy food in, then we're putting health into our cells. If we're putting junk in, then our cells become junk as well. Week 3 was all about balancing blood sugar. And so learned a lot about blood sugar. And at this point, most of you were starting to feel different and feel a shift in your health. And that was because your blood sugar was being more regulated by taking out inflammatory foods. We also talked in this class about how 6.8% of US adults have optimal metabolic health, which means 93.2% don't. And just that's a huge number that doesn't. So yeah, super important. We all want to strive to be part of that 6.8 and then to expand that as well. So hey, Desiree, so glad you could join.
Sorry, I was a little late. I know I forgot something today and this was it.
there you are.
Okay.
But at least it wasn't one of my children.
Yeah, exactly. We're glad to have you. Okay, so week 4, we talked about balancing inflammation, and talked a lot about like the importance of getting healthy fats and how to handle your fats when you are eating fats. So like the temperatures that you cook with and all of that. And we talked a lot about the misinformation about fats as well. And because of the push for a low-fat diet, that's one of the big contributors to why Americans struggle with obesity now, because we've moved away from fat being healthy for you. So super, super important. I hope you guys got a lot of valuable information out of that class. Then, yeah.
I'm sorry, because that was the week I was out of town. So by the time I caught up, I went to YouTube and watched that fat fiction documentary. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So I was like, okay, well, yeah, that's just one little bitty thing that if all the things I was telling Michelle the other day, or was that just yesterday? I can't remember. Sunday when we talked, who knew that dry skin and X and Y and Z and all that other stuff is because you don't get enough fat in your diet.
Yeah. Yeah. And then in there,
Right.
I love the scene. Yeah, the brain health as well. Definitely a huge part. And even along those lines, more and more studies are coming out just recently about mental health and lack of healthy fats, and then the huge shifts it can have. And that movie definitely focuses on ketogenic diet as well, which is great. It is a good diet if you do it healthy, and it's a great diet for certain people who need it. So I think 2 people in this group, I'm not going to say who, but I think 2 people in this group, in your HTMA protocol, it was recommended that you do a healthy ketogenic diet. And so that's if you start doing that, you're going to feel a big difference. So yeah, so good. And as a reminder, if anybody hasn't seen that movie, it is free still, right? On Amazon?
It was just on YouTube.
YouTube. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Fat Fiction.
What's it called?
Fat
Fat
Fiction.
Fiction.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're into documentaries, so good.
It was, I don't know, it was an hour and 45 minutes, I think, hour and 42, something like that. So, it was quote unquote long, but I was riveted. It truly was fascinating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right. So week 5, we talked about detoxifying the right way. And so talked about how the body naturally detoxifies. But then on top of that, there's things we can do to support it. You don't have to do the fancy detox juice cleanse or anything like that. But you can do things like going for a walk, bouncing up and down on your toes. If you want to get a little more extreme, the castor oil packs, the lymphatic tapping massage definitely helps as well. So there's these simple things we can do to help move our detox pathways and support our detox pathways. Curious, did anybody do this yet? Try the Big 6?
I've been doing it every morning. Of course, I was already dry brushing anyway, but trying to pay attention to stop and, do calf raises to try and stimulate the calf muscles. But, so who knows about if it's quote unquote making any other difference other than, but, I mean, I hope so.
It probably is.
And time will tell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And lymph moves really slowly anyways. And so it is one that kind of takes time to really see the difference, but pretty amazing. All right. And that takes us to this week. So this week we are focusing on life after the balancing program. So tonight is the last class of the program. But I'm still here for all of you if you need support. So don't worry about that part. But I'm going to talk about what you can do so that you don't reverse all the healthy habits that you had while going through the program, but also so that you can have life balance, so that you can go to a birthday party with friends and not feel like you're totally restricted, or you can go to happy hour. Okay. So let's first talk about how habits are formed. So just to get sciencey for a moment, we're going to talk about the brain. And so there's this thing called neuroplasticity, which is brain plasticity is another term for it. And this is the ability for our neural pathways within our brain to change through growth and reorganization. And so, there's that term that you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Not true, especially when you apply it to humans. Doesn't matter your age, we always have the ability to improve our brain health. And a few years ago, I heard this, what I'm going to walk you through, the story from a neuroscientist on a podcast. And now I couldn't even tell you who the neuroscientist is or what podcast because I listened to way too many. But I loved the way she explained neuroplasticity because brain health seems kind of up there in the air, hard to grasp. But when she explained this, I was like, okay, this totally makes sense. So I'm going to walk you through this story, but this really portrays how we're able to change habits and make habits stick in our brain. So if you think about a big field with super tall grass that you have to walk through every day. Every time I tell this story, I think about a friend who is the only person I've ever met who grew up in Addison, Texas. Addison seems like a new hip place to live, but he lived there when it was Addison Circle specifically, he said was a goat farm field. And he said every day he and his brother had to walk through the goat farm to get to the other side of the farm where they could catch the school bus to go to school. And now, it's like a really cool place to live and eat and hang out and go to festivals at. So totally different now. But I think of that field and walking through that field with the super tall grass and his instance goats as well. But a lot of times when we are walking through tall grass, it's kind of scary, right? because you don't know what you're stepping on. So in his instance, it could be that he's stepping on goat poop and then he has to get on the school bus and be teased because he smells like goat poop, not ideal. For me, I'm not scared of mice, but there could be mice in there. And if a mice ran over me, I would automatically think it's a tarantula. So like, I'm going to have fear of walking through tall grass as well. And most of us do. So anytime we make a big change in our life, there is some fear associated with it. But your goal is you have to walk through the tall grass to get to the other side. And so you commit to doing that. After a while, as you repeat this every single day, walking through the field, you start to create a path within it. And so there's grass that gets trampled down, dirt path basically is formed along that path. And that's just kind of what happens as you repeat the actions over and over and over again. So if the action is, chewing your food really well before you swallow it, that could be you creating that path within the tall grass. If it's reaching for fruits and veggies when you weren't doing that before, that again is starting to lay that path for you through the tall grass. And then at some point with any type of path, you eventually pave it. And so in the instance of Addison Circle, they paved the whole thing. And now, it's a totally different area. It's definitely not a goat farm anymore. But this is what happens once the thing becomes a habit. And so now we have this permanent pathway in our brain, and it's really easy for us to just do the thing every day. And so I think about this with drinking water, because I used to basically only drink Diet Coke, and I slowly switched over to water. But I started off by drinking just 8 ounces of water every morning, had it next to my sink to remind me to eat it or to drink it first thing in the morning. And now it's something I drink 32 ounces without even thinking about it. And that's before I eat or drink anything else. It's just part of my habit because I've got that permanent pathway through the grass. And so, yeah, that's how neuroplasticity works. Any questions on that? Okay. Well, then let's switch gears and talk about HTMA testing. And like I said, most of you have this, a few of you will get this very soon. But if you remember back to when we went, or when I sent you your HTMA test, or when we met one-on-one and went through your HTMA test, there was different sections in the protocol that I provided for you. And so the first section was around nutrition specifically. And so I definitely want to encourage you to continue to eat real foods, but use the macros that I recommended as a loose guide. So you definitely don't have to start macro counting unless that's something you're drawn to. But the macros will give you a good idea of whether or not you're on track or whether or not you need to increase your protein. Or if you need to increase your fats. Like I said earlier, there's 2 people in the group who definitely need to switch over to a clean keto version. So they have to really increase their fat intake. And so understanding those percentages is a good way to get you there. But again, if you're going to become obsessive about it, then don't even go there. Just start thinking through it. And even if you want to meet one-on-one, I'm happy to talk you through what a meal would look like or a plate would look like with the higher fat or the higher protein that you're looking for. The second thing is pick at least one of the lifestyle suggestions. So for many of you, I gave suggestions on stress reduction because your HTMA results showed that high stress was impacting your body's health. Some of you, I gave recommendations for working out, whether it was gentle workouts or more extreme workouts, or even everybody got a 1 drink recommendation, whether it was an adrenal cocktail or maybe it was to drink bone broth every day. So pick at least one of those, and that's going to shift again and help you. And as that becomes part of your routine, it's going to become really easy for you to support your health in that way. And then the third option, or the third section, is supplementation. And you do not have to do supplements. Food is powerful medicine, but supplements speed up the whole process. So for example, I guess 2 years ago now, one of the brands I really like came up with a whole supplement line that helped people with prediabetes. And when I got to hear all the testimonials, I was like, this is amazing. These people did in 6 months what took me 5 years to do to reverse my prediabetes with just nutrition. And so supplements will speed it up. but you don't have to do that. So if you want to do the supplement route, then pick whichever supplements you want. For nobody did I give the specific mineral supplements, because you've got a choice on that. So whether or not you want me to create individual supplements, so where you're pulling supplements from different brands to get you the right mineral balance, or if you want the personalized supplements. And so just to show you what that looks like, it's huge. It's the same size as my head. But this company I really like, Vicon, because they make it personalized to you and just what your body needs, and they'll put your name on it, which is helpful if you also purchasing it for somebody else in the household. So if you want to go that route, that's also an option. The downside with doing the personalized supplements is, well, the upside is that's just a scoop of powder that you add to the water, and now you're getting all your supplements in one. The downside is you have to buy a 4-month supply, so it's kind of an initial big investment, versus if you're doing the individual, then you can slowly work your way up. But like I said, if you want to just go the food route, then do that, but be really intentional. So for example, if your potassium was super low, I gave you a list of different foods and drinks that have high potassium, but make sure you're getting them every day. So like the stinging nettle tea or anything with coconut in it is high potassium as well. You want to really be diligent in getting them, and just know it's going to take a little bit longer to balance out your health, but totally doable. Questions on that? Okay. Then let's talk about the 80-20 guardrail. So this is how I recommend you guys incorporate food to be able to, live your life, but also not reverse everything you've done. So 80% of the time, I want you to continue to try to eat anti-inflammatory foods as best you can. But then 20% of the time, you get to treat yourself. So if you've seen Parks and Rec, it's one of my favorite shows. It's so funny. But these two characters on the show, every year they have a treat yourself day, and they just like do extreme things like go to spas and spend thousands of dollars shopping and everything. It's just treat yourself. It doesn't matter, if you are maxing out your credit card. I don't recommend doing that part, but still the 20% rule applies. And so 80% of the time, really focus on the eating anti-inflammatory foods, but 20% of the time, allow yourself to relax and eat foods that you enjoy that might not necessarily be the healthy foods, or what some people would call the good foods. But it's okay. It's not going to throw you off. The one caveat is if in reintroducing foods, you've realized that there are certain foods that just are a no-go for you. Or unless you have, I don't think anybody here has this, but unless you have a specific illness like celiac disease where gluten has to be 100% out. So there's a few caveats to that. So if it's going to make you sick, avoid it. So for me, that's corn. Corn just makes me feel horrible. So I just try to avoid it at all costs. I love the smell of popcorn, but it's not worth me eating it because it's going to make me feel horrible. And you eventually will figure out what those foods are for you as well. And so just plan on avoiding those. So let's talk a little bit more about what this looks like. So if you were to do truly 80% versus 20%, and you currently eat 3 meals a day, 7 days a week, then 20% is 4 meals. And what I recommend you do is when you're looking at the week ahead, go ahead and plan out what those 4 meals would be. So in this example here, this person is having brunch with friends on Sunday, and she's like, I don't want to be restricted. If I want the French toast, I'm going to have the French toast on that day. So she's got her brunch. And then on Monday, she's got date night and she wants to have wine with her date night. And so she knows wine is inflammatory, but that doesn't matter. It's going to make date night more fun for her. So that's one of her meals. And then on Thursday, she's going over to dinner with her neighbors, and she doesn't know what the neighbors are going to cook, but she also doesn't want to be the person who's like, oh, I've got all these restrictions. Again, for me, I would say I can eat anything except for corn, and so I do give people a heads up, but otherwise I don't I'm not like, okay, well, I really don't eat very much sugar. And, like, I don't want to be that person. I've learned what my body can handle and not handle. And so go ahead and plan on Thursday being one of your meals. And then on Sunday, you're going to a birthday party and you're going to be tempted by the cupcakes. And so go ahead and plan on that as well. And so the rest of the meals for the week, you go ahead and eat the anti-inflammatory foods. And you know that you're going to be able to still live your life. You're going to be able to go out with your friends and not feel like the weird one who's super restrictive, or you'd be able to go to the birthday party. And so this really allows you to have freedom, food freedom specifically. So any questions on this? Okay. So the next part is writing a contract to yourself. So this is in the PDF. If you haven't printed off the PDF, I would recommend printing at least this page of it because this part's really important. So again, so many studies showing the importance of being true to ourselves. And when we keep promises to ourselves, we feel better about ourselves. And then we also are better at keeping promises to other people as well. But also there's so many studies showing the importance of writing things down and writing it in your own handwriting. And so I'm going to pause for a minute and give you guys some time to think about at least one thing that you've taken away from these 6 weeks that you want to continue to do, even though it's been a little hard, and commit to that. And then sign it and date it and have this be basically a contract with yourself saying that I am committed to this health goal. So I'm going to just be quiet for a few minutes and let you guys think about this and write it down. All right, I see a few of you looking up. Does anybody want to share? You do not have to share because this is a personal contract, but if anybody wants to share, you're welcome to. Well, I'll share for myself. And this, again, I do the balancing program on a regular basis. So a lot of what we are doing here, I'm already do pretty regularly. But this time around, one of the things I added was going for a walk in the morning and a walk in the evening. And I really think it has helped both my stress level as well as I just got back my latest HTMA test, and it was interesting to see my blood sugar markers change. And so part of that is like the science behind going for a 10-minute walk after a meal is pretty huge. And so I don't know how much of it is that, but that was the biggest thing that's changed. And so for me, that's one of the things I'm committing to is to continue that. And whenever bad weather does come to us, I'm going to like just do loops around my kitchen island or something, but committed to that 10 minutes of movement after meals. Anyone else
I'll
want to?
share mine.
Okay.
Mine has just been more focused on like journaling and my scripture reading and really going over my day-to-day of thanking God first before asking for like healing. That's been my thing. It's just really journaling and making sure I'm being thankful for the things that are positive, even if it's only a little bit. Because right now I'm still very confused about why I have my vertigo. I'm still unsure about all my triggers and with all of the things in pregnancy, and it's like it's been up and down for so long and so many years, and I'm still trying to hone in on it so much. So I'm trying to not focus on that as much and more on, okay, well, I'm thankful for this today and journaling and reading scriptures or doing my devotionals, whatever it may be, just more positivity versus focusing so much on the negative.
I love that. Yeah. Have you noticed it has helped reduce stress for you?
It has, yeah. It
Good.
has. It has helped me. If I sometimes I do it in the morning, sometimes I do it in the evening, or sometimes I do both. It has helped reduce my stress.
I love that. Well, and I don't think you were on when I mentioned this at the beginning, but every single one of you, your HTMA test showed some type of stress level impacting your health. So finding something daily to do like that really can shift your health. So thank you for sharing.
Mhm.
Anyone else want to share? Okay. Then let's go on to the next slide, but definitely take that contract that you made with yourself and put it somewhere where you'll see it and be reminded as well, because it's powerful when we realize that we're keeping promises to ourselves. Okay, so next steps. Like I said, I'm not going away. I'm here to support you. You guys all have my contact information, but I also have a few things to offer to you guys and a few different discounts. The first one is that you are welcome to join any of the future balancing programs. And as an alumni, you'll get to join for $100 off. So before each balancing program, you'll get an email from me telling you the discount code if you want to jump in. A lot of times I've got like a handful of clients who every year do this program just as like a reset. So if you want to do that, you are welcome to do that. And also you guys will get a referral code. So if you've got friends who want to do this, you can give them your special discount code, which will be emailed as well, and they'll get $25 off. And when they sign up, I will send you $25 as a thank you as well. The next one is I offer month to month packages to clients. And so if you feel like, this 6 weeks has been good, but you need a little bit more personal one-on-one time, then I have a discount for you. So it's normally $275 per month. But if you want to sign up for this for the next month, it will be $200. And with that, we have 2 individual one-on-one meetings, either over Zoom or in person, whatever works better for you. And then if you want to continue on, the price would go up to $275 after that. But I set this up in a way where at any point you can cancel. So it's not like you're locked into a contract and have to stick with it for forever. Also, on the 3rd month that you are in the month-to-month program, you get a free Zyto scan. So every 3 months, you would get a free Zyto scan. The next one is HTMA annual package. So in your HTMA testing protocols I sent to you, I mentioned that the recommendation is that you retest every 3 to 4 months, because as our body heals, things shift and adjust. Hopefully, like if you're actually healing, then things should shift and adjust. You're not going to need the same supplements. You might even need a different type of diet based on what's going on with your body at that time. And this is a really good way to know it. So for brand new clients, HTMA testing in the 101 is $450. For existing clients, it's just $300 if you wanted to do it on a one-time basis. But I do offer an annual package. And so this is 3 tests over a 12-month period. It's normally $800, but since you've gone through the balancing program, you would get it $100 off. So $700 would cover you for the next 12 months and 3 HTMA tests. And so really it would be more than 12 months because you just did your HTMA test, but 3 more over a 12-month period. And then finally, for those of you who feel like you need to do a lot more testing, there's a lot of things that still aren't feeling right, then I have the 6-month package. And so my 6-month package is normally $5,999. And this includes all of the testing. So a GI map at the beginning of the 6 months, as well as one at the end, so that we can make sure that everything we were trying to resolve has been resolved. Food sensitivity testing is included, multiple Zyto scans, another HTMA is done during this time as well, and then meeting with me twice a month. And so if you went through this and you did blood work as part of the balancing program, you get $1,000 off. If you went through this, you didn't do blood work, then you can get $500 off, but it would also then include the blood work. So yeah, those are the different packages. I do offer payment plans on any of these. And so if you've got questions about that, I'm happy to even talk to you one-on-one about that, and we can work out something that works best for you. Also, this is not on here because this isn't specific to the balancing program, but on Friday, Zyto scans are going on sale. So if you're really interested in doing a Zyto scan starting on November 1st, Zyto scans are going to be $46 off. Because it's my birthday, and I'm
I was going to say, why November 1st? Why 46?
yeah. So I'm having a birthday sale. So if you want to do that, y'all are some of the first to know about it. But yeah, that will go on sale November 1st through the 15th. But you can like sign up for it, and then we can do it in the new year if you want to do that or whatever. You don't have to necessarily do it within that 2-week period. I don't know that I could handle doing that many during that 2-week period. So be good to spread it out. So, but all of these here, these special pricing things, just let me know by November 12th. So two weeks from now, if you want to do it, and if you need payment plans and all that, we can talk about that. So any questions on these? Okay. And then the final thing is, if you enjoyed this, I would love your feedback. So feel free to email me and tell me your feedback, but also, especially if you enjoyed it, if you would write a Google review, it would mean the world to me. It helps other people find me and find this program, and it might be able to help them too. So on here, and this is also on the PDF, I kind of have a step-by-step to writing a good Google review. So it could be, I struggled with high blood pressure before this. Then I signed up for the balancing program and learned that XYZ was causing my high blood pressure. By the end of the 6 weeks, I noticed my blood pressure was much more regulated. I highly recommend you sign up for the balancing program if you also struggle with blood pressure. Yeah, so fill in the blank with whatever it might be. But I know for one of you, blood pressure was a big thing that you noticed a difference on. And on the PDF, there's actually a QR code that takes you straight to the Google review section. I do think you have to sign in with a Gmail account to do that. I could be wrong, but I know sometimes people aren't able to leave reviews, and I think that's why. And that takes us to the end. So thank you guys so much for being a part of the balancing program. I have loved working with every one of you. And like I said, I'm still here to support you if you have any questions. But I really appreciate you being a part of it and showing up every week and being engaged as we go through this. So that is the end of the program. But as always, I'm happy to stay on as long as you guys need me to, if you have any questions. But if not, if you want to drop off, you're welcome to as well.
Do I need to set up a time to go over my HTMA with you?
Have you received, so I recorded a video and did you watch that?
I did.
Okay, you have follow-up questions?
Yeah, it's been a couple of days. I think I did it the day you sent it. So I might just have a few questions.
Okay, yeah.
So do I just need to schedule something with you?
Yeah.
Or just send you an email?
Either one. Would you prefer email or would you prefer talk through?
It doesn't matter. I'm not picky. I just didn't know if I was supposed to set something up with you or if I could just email you my questions.
Yeah, email would be preferable, but if you want to talk through it, I'm happy to talk through it. So at the bronze level, we don't have a one-on-one session to go through it, which is why I do the video. But
Right.
it's confusing. There's a ton of stuff. So I'm happy to meet with you as well. It would have to be next week, but I'll send you a link and we can find time that works to go through it.
Okay. Well, I'll go through and I'll probably just compile an email and make that easier that way. Just make sure I'm clear on everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I know it's a lot
Okay.
of,
All right. Thank you.
yeah. Anyone else have questions?
No, I'm going to bring all my questions when I come see you tomorrow.
Okay, awesome. I'm ready. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I so appreciate you guys sticking through to the end, and I'm here if you need me.
Thank you, Meg, very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a good night.
Bye.
You too. Bye.